Our next stop is the Italian island of Sardinia. We land at Cagliari, the capital of Sardinia. Since we haven't left Italy, there are no formalities at the airport. So we can head directly to lunch at Convento di San Giuseppe, a restaurant and event venue with a history that goes back 1,000 years. But the food is a contemporary interpretation of Sardinian traditions. Our next stop is the National Archaeological Museum. The oldest Homo sapien remains date back at least 10,000 years. This Betalis dates to 6,000 BCE. These mother goddess figures were worshipped by the San Ciriaco culture around 3400 BCE. But we were most surprised by the Bronze Age Nuragic Civilization that we had never heard of. But they thrived on Sardinia and to a lesser degree on Corsica from the 18th century BCE to 238 BCE when the Romans arrived. They built sophisticated round stone tower fortresses. Today, more than 7,000 of these nuraghs dot the Sardinian landscape. They mastered the lost wax technique to produce these figurines of chiefs and warriors in bronze. These giants of Monte Prama were discovered in 1974. They're carved in local limestone and stand 8 feet tall. They've been dated between the 11th and the 8th century BCE. That makes them the oldest anthropomorphic statues in the Mediterranean region. The museum also has a collection of artifacts from the Roman period, but we have more Cagliari to explore than time to do it justice. From a park not far from the museum, we can see the modern port of Cagliari. This gate was built in 1825. Everywhere we walk is history. This tower, rising alongside apartment blocks, was built in 1305 during the Pisan domination of the city. It was part of the fortifications against the Aragonese. This plaque extols the virtues of King Philip III and is dated 1604. The Cagliari Cathedral was built in the 13th century. In the 17th and 18th centuries, it was renovated in Baroque style. In 1930, the current facade was added in a neo-Romanesque style. The cathedral is dedicated to the Virgin Mary and to Saint Saturnius of Cagliari, the patron saint of the city. The cathedral was built by the Pisans. It has a square plan with a nave and 2 aisles. The interior is richly ornamented. The mausoleum of the Aragon King Martin I was built between 1676 and 1680. He died during the conquest of Sardinia in the early 15th century. 4 marble lions guard the entrance to the crypt. The sanctuary of the martyrs is in the crypt. On the walls are 179 niches containing the relics of the martyrs of Cagliari, which were found during the excavations in the 17th century. This is the mausoleum of Giuseppina de Savoy, wife of Louis XVIII, King of France. The last resting places of other notables occupy prominent places in the crypt. Back out into the fresh air, we are treated to a panoramic view of the modern city of Cagliari. That wraps up our quick tour of Cagliari, and we walk down the hill to find our bus to our hotel. We check into the Forte Village and enjoy a bountiful buffet dinner. This morning, we hope to learn more about the Nuragic Civilization. We're exploring a nuraghe. From a distance, it looks like a large pile of stones surrounded by a field of leftover stones. But as you walk through it, it takes form. Most are circular spaces. Some are small meeting areas with stone seating around a fire ring. Some of the higher walls have passageways. walls appear to be dry fit with no mortar. Some of the walls have patterns built into the stonework. As we climb the central tower, we get a view of the farm surrounding the site. From the central tower, we see the pattern of circular structures surrounding the tower. From the top of the tower, we see that what looked like a pile of stone is really a sophisticated structure of rooms, passageways, and a courtyard with a well. The oldest part of the Nuragic is the central tower with 3 chambers 61 feet high. It was built of blocks of basalt between the 17th and the 13th century BCE. The function of the Nuragic is still debated. Possibilities are fortress, religious site, refuge, or storage for weapons and food, or all the above. In the late Bronze Age, the village grew in phases around the Nuragic, just like a modern suburb. So much about the Nuragic civilization is a mystery, and probably always will be. After all that physical and mental exercise, now to an agriturismo for a farm lunch. As we arrive, the table groans under the weight of the appetizers. The farm-made sausages and cured meats are good. The pasta course was great. But the highlight had to be the roast piglet. And for dessert, Sardinian cakes and pastries. Now to work that lunch off, our guides tell us that we'll be hiking to the Giara horses, the wild horses of Sardinia. Fortunately, we didn't have to walk far. The Giara horse is a breed that has adapted to the harsh, dry conditions of Sardinia. The ancestors of these horses were probably brought to Sardinia by Phoenicians or Greeks in the 5th or 4th century BCE. The total population is estimated to be about 700. Present throughout Sardinia until medieval times, the wild population now lives only on the Giara Plateau. The isolated plateau has steep cliffs and limited access, which have protected the wild stock in recent centuries. We're up early at the Forte village to pack and enjoy the sunrise. Then back to Cagliari to board our plane for the last segment of this trip.